नमस्ते सबैजनालाई फेरि स्वागत छ दिगो प्रणाली र इको साथीको ग्रीन podcastमा. Today we have a very beautiful guest, Miss Kencho from Nilo Nadee, and I'd love to welcome you to our podcast. So excited to have this conversation with you.
Thank you.
So Nilo Nadee is such a unique name. We're dressed beautifully in blue because of it as well. What inspired you to have or keep the name Nilo Nadee?
So Nilo Nadee was a name that I was meditating a lot. It was during the pandemic times.
Yeah.
And it was kind of just an idea that I had of the hope of what I wanted this brand to be. I wanted a non-toxic household cleaning product company that did not pollute the river systems, and with the ultimate goal of having blue rivers again. So that's where the name Nilo Nadee came, and it sounded very pretty, so I stuck with that.
It is very pretty, and also very unique product as well, because we're putting so many toxins into our river systems because of our household cleaning products. We're obsessed with the idea of having very clean household, but we forget to take care of ecosystems beyond our houses as well. So what inspired you to start this business?
So this happened during the pandemic, and it was a time when all of us were very health conscious with our food, with our exercise and things like that. And we had a very limited, almost like a horse-like view of what we could experience on a day-to-day basis. That was very limited, right? So the one thing that we had in touch with the outside world was getting our groceries delivered to us. So one day we always get the traditional household cleaning brands, and then one day I saw it and I looked at the back just out of interest, and I saw that there were a lot of chemicals in there that a lot of them I couldn't even pronounce. And because we had so much time, I started thinking, why is that?
Yeah.
It's not like we need to live in a very sterile environment. And what are the alternatives that are equally as effective? 100% effective, let's say, whereas these cleaning products were 300% effective. Do above, beyond, and even more.
Yeah.
So that's where, the idea came
about. So you interestingly use the word traditional products, because now for us youth especially, the traditional products are these chemical-filled products. But for our grandparents, they were so used to using clean and green products that were completely biodegradable. Tell us about some of the ingredients that were inspired by our grandparents' time that is in your product.
Yeah, that's a great question. So a lot of the products that we use now, that we use now at Nilo Nadee, were sourced back from our grandparents and grandfathers' time. Also, asking them, what did you use to clean products? Surely all of these detergents didn't exist in your time. They said, no, we use something called Rita. And Rita is one of our star ingredients that we use in all of our products. It's an ingredient that has been used by our grandfathers and grandmothers to clean, because it's completely plant-based, and when it's plant-based, it's biodegradable, right, as far as possible. So this is one of our star ingredients, and we really wanted to make sure that with all our ingredients, we sourced it within Nepal itself. Nepal has such an incredible amount of flora and fauna, so we really wanted to promote that through our products.
So where can we find the plant for Rita? Can we harvest it somewhere near, or where can we find it?
Yes, so we can find it in the far west.
Okay.
So it's also one of the poorest regions of Nepal, but it's also one of, I feel, the most enriched with flora and fauna. So that's also one of our upcoming products. We'll be having Rita cleaning detergents.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're quite excited for that. But in the far west, and not too high up, more say not even too low. It's right in the middle. That's where it goes best. Yeah.
Okay. So it's great for the area as well. They're getting a source of income. I bet how is the demand for Rita right now over there?
So I think pre-pandemic it was not bad, and I've just spoken to a supplier, and he told me that what was really important for Rita was the certification that it's organic. But the organic certification costs a lot of money, right, to be certified organic, and they didn't have enough demand to repurchase that agreement. So that's why they're their demand for the product outside went down, but it is a product that is being exported to European countries and things like that. They do use it as alternative to laundry detergents.
Oh.
Yeah.
So we are actually exporting.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
That's
We are.
so cool. So, you know a lot about Nepal, like you mentioned, and also about river systems because you've traveled a lot around Nepal. Tell us some of your experiences while traveling to Nepal, perhaps the very first time when you were young and with your family.
Yes. So my family, we have been doing adventure travel for the last 50 years. So I was in a very unique position where I could travel from a very young age across Nepal. So I feel I was very lucky to have had my eyes open at a very young age to see all the different like environments of Nepal. So, we could, from a very young age, I was in Lumbini. From a very young age, I could see the Everest region. And that is where, like one of my first trips was when I was, say, like 8 or 9 years old, when I went up along the Everest Base Camp Trail. And that's where I saw the Dudh Kosi, right?
Yeah.
Did you also go?
No, I really want to travel there. So.
It's very beautiful. So that was my first experience of seeing like really beautiful and clean blue rivers in Nepal. And that's a very stark reality to city life and city rivers today. Yeah.
It's true. Like I grew up next to a river too, the Bishnumati River, and I always thought that rivers were black colored, like dark, murky. And when I went to the source, that's when I first realized that rivers are actually can be like clear waters as well. So how does your product help the river systems in the long run?
Yes. So a lot of household goods. There's just one statistic. I think Kathmandu produces about 150 tons of waste every day, right?
Wow.
And so this kind of waste is not, it's not treated as it goes into the river systems. Most 80% of it is put back into river systems. So what I wanted to do was to create a product that was plant-based and biodegradable, where from the source itself, it would not be harmful to aquatic life downstream, and it would not be corrosive. It didn't make sense to me that we had cleaning products that cleaned our homes but didn't clean further down its lifespan. So for me, that was quite ironic. Yeah.
Okay, so what are some ingredients in our day-to-day bottles? Like I can name some like Harpix, right? And we have Dettol and all those different brands that are known for their effectiveness, but I bet, like you mentioned, their cleaning extends beyond our houses. It cleans and harms a lot of ecosystems. So what are some ingredients that we should be avoiding?
So in terms of ingredients, if you can't pronounce it, it's not the best for us to use, right? Right now, we're quite young, but I think throughout a woman's lifespan, she's exposed to many, many different chemicals that affect her respiratory health, whether it be through bleach or through glass cleaning products or things like that. A lot of them use VOCs, so these are like volatile compounds that are not, that contribute to air pollution within the home. So anything that you really can't pronounce or you don't understand the source from, it's something that you should avoid. Like for us in our products, we try to make it a bit simpler. At the end of our ingredients, we always make sure to write down like the colloquial name. Like if we're using Rita, we'll make sure like, okay, this is soap berries and things like that. And yeah, as far as possible, we try to make sure that our products are paraben and sulfate free. I mean, there are a few studies that show that it's disruptive to hormonal health if you have sulfate products or products that include sulfate or products that include paraben. So, but the research keeps updating itself, right? So according to that, working with that, we make sure that all of our products are paraben and sulfate free and use plant-based chemicals because there still are chemicals. In order for the product to stay on the shelf, there still needs to be a certain amount of chemicals. But where a conventional product would say use 150% of chemicals and things like this, we make sure we minimize it as far as we can to about 20%, 30% like this.
That's huge, yeah. crop
Yeah.
as well. So how do you like work with, like, do you work with scientists, and how did the team form, and how is it continuing right now?
So right now it's me and my accountant and our our scientist who works with us.
Okay.
He has over 15 years of experience in Japan, and it's his family business as well. So that's where we were quite like-minded,
Yeah.
because this is something that means more to us than just a business. It's a legacy that we're carrying forward. So it was important for me to have the right supply partner in that sense. So yeah.
आजको एपिसोडको स्पोन्सर थियो किचन रेसिपी हाम्रो आफ्नै अचार आमा मिसेस हजुरी बिस्टले 25 years ago established गर्नुभएको यो small business is still running successfully, and they've been producing delicious hygienic achar for our everyday meals. And so that's very interesting, because you mentioned you traveled a lot. You come from a family who's always been traveling, especially in adventure. And now your responsibility is not just to run that business, but make sure the environment that has been supporting the business is in good place as well. So I just wanted to ask, I think you might have a special connection with water. And I feel like in this time where we live, where climate change is such an issue, water pollution is such an issue, we need to start reviving that emotional connection with nature. So let us know a little bit about your connection with water and the natural world.
I feel like from a very young age, we were very exposed to all the elements, right? From a very young age, we were taught how to swim. From a very young age, we were taught how to hike, how to do, how to fend for ourselves in the wild and things like this. And so I think my connection from water, I'm not sure where my connection from the water comes from, but I think just being exposed to so many different landscapes that had such a beautiful that had such beautiful river systems going through it, and sort of, you know, I'm to bring back to my heritage, I'm also Bhutanese, so just next door in Bhutan, the rivers are completely blue. You can see the bottom of the riverbed, not only in the rural areas but also in the capital city. So why wouldn't we want to be connected to a place that is clean and, you know, makes you hopeful, right? I think during the pandemic, a lot of us, we aspired to something that was bigger than us, that gave some sort of hope, right? Like what could we give to society? So to be able to work on giving cleaner water, I think that's where the emotional connection comes from, being able to give something back, given how much I was given, like being born and raised here. Yeah.
That's beautiful. And rivers really like connect our country, right? We are known for our water resources. And are we taking good care of it? That's a question we should be asking ourselves. And you mentioned Bhutan, and I think Bhutan is known for its environmental actions right now. Tell us about how they keep their rivers clean.
I think they have, they're quite stringent in their industries. So actually, they use this measure called GNH, which is gross national happiness, over traditional economic indicators. And what that means is that a lot of their land, as opposed to being used for industrial purposes, they use it for conservation. Okay. I think they're the only country in the world that's net positive in carbon emission. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So for me, that is how I feel Bhutan does well. I think for them, it doesn't matter that despite they're so small, their population is under 1 million. They still felt a responsibility. I think maybe in part to their religion or whatnot. But I feel like you said, Nepal has huge sources of rivers, right? And we always introduce Nepal as, oh, we're like this very small country between China and India. And, you know, we, in a way, we kind of make ourselves a lot smaller. But actually what I realized was through this business, what I saw was that Nepal is really instrumental to the safety of all the countries downstream, India, Bangladesh, through our reforestation programs, we can protect a lot of these countries below us
Yeah.
to protect them from floods and things like that. So actually, we play a really, really important geographical role, and I feel like the responsibility that we should have for rivers sort of extends beyond our country, but also to all our neighboring countries.
That's such a beautiful thought, because we always think about what can we take, and as a country who is, a mother to a lot of river systems, we have a responsibility about how can we keep it clean so that the people living downstream get access to clean water as well. And it all goes down to the oceans as well. So we need to have a wider and global vision. And what is really special to me is that you are a woman working in this field right now and taking care of Mother Earth. And I say this because when we mentioned these different ingredients that are in our products, like the VOCs we mentioned, they're all because the STEM world is still filled with a lot of there's a lack of women taking part, and there's a lack of research on women's health. So we are no longer using products that are made for us, that are made for women, or not made by women, and also not made for women. So we are very disadvantaged. So having people like you work and really design these products is very important, because nobody really out there is taking care of our health. So how has it been for you to work in this industry as a businesswoman, as a woman entrepreneur?
I am very lucky and very privileged that I have had the background that my family has had, and that has given me a lot of advantages over somebody who wants to start a business without the business background. In that respect, I find myself very lucky and privileged, and that's why I sort of want to be able to give back.
Yeah.
I don't take profits from my business. I try to reinvest everything I can back into the business, because like you said, I feel that there are a lot of really big companies making decisions for the everyday household without really taking them or their health into consideration.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of these companies focus on profit margins and what is the most dirt cheap ingredient that I can put in there, and they don't have the foresight to think what happens post it going down the drain, like we talked about. So I think that's where it's very unique and a very interesting opportunity for me to be a businesswoman in that sense, because maybe, I don't know whether it's because I'm a woman or what it is, but we can sort of think beyond just the usage of one product. We see, we take responsibility for what happens post that usage as well.
Yeah.
So I think that maybe because we're women, that we think more holistically, and not just for our health, but also we have a very caretaking kind of attitude.
That's true.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's whenever you say caretaking, I do think of our mothers and just the whole concept of nature, how generous she's been with us, and we have a huge responsibility. That's why. So I wanted to hear about your vision for Nilo Nadee. What are your future plans for it? You mentioned a bit of the soap nuts as well, and just about like beyond that too. Like, what are your goals for Nilo Nadee?
Nilo Nadee, in the name itself, has such a big vision that I feel like there are so many different things that I can do. There are so many improvements that I can make as well to Nilo Nadee. I don't want to come across as an expert in environmentalism, because I'm not. I studied maths in school. I work in adventure travel, but I'm just somebody who cared enough to do something a little bit different. My vision with Nilo Nadee is, right now, although we, even in our packaging, we still use plastic. The reason why we made this decision was because we wanted this kind of formula to be available to everyone, and we wanted it to be as accessible as possible. I think sometimes what happens with environmentalism is it becomes a little bit elitist in the sense that only the elite people can afford like 900 rupees for a cleaning product, for example, right? Whereas usually this is only like 50, 60 rupees. So I feel like in the future, I really want to be able to create packaging that is recyclable. I want to be able to take out the water actually from our products, be able to condense it into those
like condensed
yeah
forms,
condensed
dry
forms, exactly, and then just be able to shake it and use it.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and there's a lot, and also use have a store where we can have refillable stations.
That'd be really cool too.
Yes. So the vision for Nilo Nadee is really big, and I wanted to be I wanted to have a very positive contribution. I want people to have a very positive association with river cleaning. I think currently we're so doomsday about it. We're like, oh, this is going to be black forever. And, like, why should anyone care?
Yeah.
But sort of to bring back the joy of taking care of nature, to bring it back through small acts like this, to make sure that just to raise awareness that, all right, like, do you know how this is going down the drain? Like, think twice before using the bleach, right? Maybe think of alternatives, maybe add vinegar, baking soda, things like that. Like, everyone can do like a chemistry experiment at home. So just to be able to remember the joy of taking care of nature, I think that I would like to sort of continue the message for.
Yeah, you want to revive that feeling.
Yeah, because it's it should be fun at the end of the day, right? It shouldn't be something that we're so scared and anxious about, and like we don't, and it makes us freeze, right? Whereas if we think of it in a way of from a place of hope and from a more like a growth mindset, like what can we do, like what can our contribution be? There's so many millions of households in Nepal, right? We definitely can make a difference in our own ways. You don't have to buy Nilo Nadee products, like you can, like I said, make your own chemistry experiment, add vinegar, add this, and that in itself is good enough to clean.
That's true, and that's the fun part.
Yeah.
Truly. So I was very curious about. So you mentioned river cleaning as well. So are there anything as an organization, like have you met different organizations that can help on the policy sides as well about cleaning up rivers? I know it's a bottom level in the sense that it's not a top-down approach. Like we're not closing the tap really when we clean the rivers. But are there anything that we as consumers can do, like for river cleaning or just stopping the sewage pipe that's actually been polluting the rivers?
Well, in terms of the policy and things like this, I feel like one of the most actionable INGOs and things like that is Easy Mode. I think Easy Mode really does a lot of good work for river conservation and river research and things like this. I think, like through EcoSati's work and through even your work, through environmentalism, just encouraging people to use products that maybe they're just to expand their like mindset of what it means to be environmentally friendly. It means like, for example, maybe not getting AC, like maybe not getting an AC unit, right? Like this summer, everybody's been really hot, but having an AC unit, everybody's going to be hot. And then if everybody gets it in the neighborhood, everybody's going to be even hotter. So these are all small, but I feel like all these decisions come from the household, and that's why I sort of wanted to empower households first to be like, we're important as well, It doesn't have to come from government level organizations, but I feel like that could take a long time in a country like Nepal. And I feel like what could happen is making sure that us as individuals, we teach our next of kin, we teach, how to have better practices, and that's all we can see, like through YouTube and through Instagram, through activists like you, and we can learn a lot.
That's true. And you mentioned that there are so many companies who source their raw materials from Nepal, but they export it in the end, and they have factories abroad, and we have to import it back at an expensive rate. But you're making it very sustainable and economical for Nepalese people by making sure everything is made in Nepal. So tell us about it a little bit more.
Yeah, so the reason why I wanted to do that was because Nepali and I felt like we were not, at least from what I saw from the products that I was seeing in the market, we were not putting a spotlight on these kind of ingredients. We were always looking outside when actually within our own country we have so much biodiversity and so much knowledge from Ayurveda and things like this on how to be able to use all of this. So that was the main reason why I wanted to make sure we have Nepalese ingredients. And the reason why I wanted to have it formulated and manufactured in Nepal was because we're an economy that's very dependent on our imports. And I felt like we have a lot of industrialists and things like that that can make products that are just as good as any other company outside. It's just maybe we don't have the correct ISO certifications or things like this. But I feel like we need to sort of breathe life into those industries so that they have a chance to be able to get to that next level.
Okay.
So that was why I wanted to have a big focus on making sure that all these products are made in Nepal, were made using Nepalese ingredients as far as possible. And yeah.
Okay. And your factory is in Birganj, right?
Yes.
So tell us maybe a story or of one of the workers there.
Yeah.
Or just a short story about how is the factory over there so that we get a bigger picture.
Yeah. So my manufacturing partner, he handles all of that.
Okay.
What I focus on is the communications, the branding, the whole element of that. He would be able to tell you a lot of the manufacturing and things, but we selected him because he had such a big family legacy in manufacturing practices and things like that. And I wanted to make sure that we had somebody who was an expert. Me, myself, I'm not an expert. I'm not a chemist.
Yeah.
And I needed somebody who knew more than me, was smarter than me, and knew how to, get it done in the Nepalese industry, because that's very specific. So for now, I work with my partner, but in the future, I would like to have my own manufacturing plant, hopefully using a lot of sustainable packaging and things like this.
Okay, so interesting. And one of the most important things for any business is having partners, truly, because the idea of delegating your task is so important. So I can see that you've put a lot of thought into forming the team and a lot of effort into keeping it positive as well. So how is it like working with different partners, and how do we maintain good relationships?
So I think I was reading this book, and it's called so focusing on who, not how. I think a lot as entrepreneurs, and especially female entrepreneurs, we focus on, how do I do this? How do I get this done? Like, how do I? But even somebody like Michael Jordan, he needs so many different people on his team to help him, right? Him on his own will not be able to sustain a whole will not be able to sustain a whole basketball championship, for example. He needs the best trainer, he needs the best PR person, he needs the best this and that. So within that book only, that's why I'm giving his example. I feel like a lot of what we need to do, I feel like as female entrepreneurs, is delegate to like who is the best person for this job, like who knows more than me, because I feel like we're perfectionists and we want to do it all ourselves.
That's true.
And I feel like that hampers the bigger vision that we have
Okay.
for the business.
That's so true. It's very difficult to given like not be like a perfectionist and like delegate our tasks, really. And I think that's one of the challenges also. And I'm sure there are more challenges, especially for the vision that you have for Nilo Nadee. So what are some challenges, and what kind of support do you wish you had?
So in terms of the challenges, I think challenges, I feel like there'll always be a lot in whatever industry we're in. Right now, we're like in FMCG goods. But even in hospitality, for example, it's only 6 months a year. You know, like if there is a natural disaster, like everything gets wiped out for the rest of the year. There are a lot of unique challenges to working in this, but I feel like as long as we are committed to the vision of what we want to do and why we want to do, I feel like if we have a bad day at work, for example, it only makes you stronger as a business person, and only makes you have more data points. Like, okay, this is what I needed to do, this is how I need to learn, and still stay committed to the vision, like, because this is something that I want to do for 10 years, 15 years, you know. So despite the challenges we have, obviously everyone knows the challenges of working in Nepal, but I feel like the vision of it is so good that it's like, despite the challenges, like, you know, we have to keep going. And I get supported a lot through my family and my friends, and I think the biggest thing is that they're very confident in me, and I feel like that's really important, because the minute you have doubt in like interpersonal relationships, I feel like that's where relationships get stunted, and that's where they can't grow. So I think, just to answer your previous question as well, like how do you maintain relationships with all different partners, I think it's to have like 100% confidence in them, right? There's this book called The Courage to Be Disliked. I really like that book, and that one is like, either you're 100% confident in a person, or it's done. Like, you don't have to do anything in between.
Wow.
Yeah.
So truly, like, it's the vision, to have faith in the vision, and when you get support from your closed ones, then you get an extra, like, you get support so that you can actually handle all those extra challenges as well.
Yeah.
So that's really beautiful. And you know, like, I think, again, to bring up the perfectionist side, even when it comes to sustainability, what we've learned through all these episodes is that we should take it lightly. As much as climate change is such an urgent issue, we don't need to be perfect, completely zero waste. It's the vision that matters, it's the intention that matters, and the little effort that we're making. And I think the thought behind making it economical for all the communities around, so that it's affordable, it's very thoughtful. And that is also one of the limitations for packaging right now, and hopefully it'll as you've planned, like, it'll slowly change as well. But it's so important to consider all of them. And sustainability, or sustainable products, should not just be a niche product. You're bringing it to different stores too, so where can we find your product?
So for now, we can find it at Nina and Hagar. So we have one branch in Jamskil and one branch in Garidara, Balwatar. Yeah, right now, like you said, we really want to make it as accessible as we can. And yeah, we want more people to sort of have fun when they're taking care of nature, because it's such a positive and good thing that we're doing. It has a lot of merit. And what I feel is, sometimes when we're too doomsday about it, when we only paint a very negative picture, or a lot of people are put off by it because they say, oh, I can't go like waste free for 1 month, you know, like I can't do like what you guys do. I feel like that puts off a lot of people from being an environmentalist, when actually we always were. Maybe we were just a little bit scared and like put off by how extreme people are about it. But I think it makes a lot of sense if you sort of take out the fear and the doubt, and you're doing a good thing. So just have confidence and, you know,
and fun.
Yeah.
Darazma pani छ कि छैन?
Yeah.
Okay, we can also find the products in Daraz as well.
Yeah.
So, because you love traveling so much, what's your favorite place to travel in Nepal? And is there a fun travel story that we can hear?
can I promote myself?
Oh,
So my father runs lodges in more rural parts of Nepal. So we have one called the Everest Summit Lodges. So those are 4 mountain lodges in the Everest area. And we also have the Summit River Lodge in Kurintar. So that is what one of my favorite places to travel to. I think Kurintar has very good energy and very is right by the river.
yeah.
So
Great
there's
water sports.
really good water sports. Kurintar, I think people don't know that, but it's the water hub of Nepal, right? You can go canyoning, which is like where you abseil down waterfalls. You can go rafting. There are a lot of natural swimming pools around, and you can also go kayaking. But don't do it all in one day.
Okay.
Kayaking is a bit dangerous to do in one day. They're like 3 to 5 day courses. But yeah, Kurintar has a very special place in my heart. And any stories from there? Well, even there, you know, my father, I learned a lot from my dad. He, unlike other hotels and things like that, like he notices the finer details of things. Like he doesn't want to have like single-use plastics. He's eliminated like plastic water bottles. He's eliminated like having those unnecessary toothbrushes and things like that. And from the smallest details, he changes it and makes more sustainable alternatives. And I learn a lot from him. There.
What inspired him to? Maybe it came naturally too, but does he have an environmental science knowledge, or just it's through his work practices?
I think when you spend this much time in an industry of lodges and things like that, you have to deal with a lot of things with yourself. You don't really get like municipal help and things like that. So from a very young age, just like him and I, we were very exposed to like, how do I get rid of this waste?
Yeah.
This guest has come. We're in Kurintar. We're on the opposite side of the river, and there isn't like a place where you can throw your garbage away, right? So from the way that we do business, what we realized was that there was a lot of waste which we had to be responsible for, which we didn't feel like had to be created in the first place. So it's more out of a need than out of any background. So yeah.
Saying like out of need, and again thinking about where does the waste go.
Yeah.
And so is there, apart from like the ingredients that we use, what are some things or habits that we can apply in our household so that we have, we don't harm the water systems and we start taking care of it?
So I think being able to sort of, as a whole family, being able to have cleaning be a little bit fun and informative. Sometimes the reason why only the mom takes care of this cleaning something is because the chemical she uses is dangerous.
Yeah.
But why should it be dangerous for her,
Yeah.
To sort of, if everybody can clean and if everybody's okay with having this kind of chemical in their hands and things, like a baby can also have it on the hands, then that's where that is more like sustainable, right? And as a family also sort of being able to spend more time together about learning best practices about cleaning homes. I'm making myself sound like I'm a very clean person. I'm not, but just to sort of, it's a really fun, I feel, educational kind of a thing to do with your kids, to be like, this is how we can make this better for our environment. And, we don't have to we can use vinegar. You can use apple cider vinegar to like clean our stoves. You can add a little bit of lemon here, this, that, and the other. I feel like it's quite, it's our responsibility to teach our own how to. Yeah.
So do your family also come together when it's like cleaning time?
No, we all clean by ourselves.
Okay.
But right now, because we don't have, like my sisters and I, we don't have any children or things like this. But we definitely try to have more environmentally safe practices in the house. Like everybody has started using like our products and things like that, so they also started noticing, I guess this is better because I don't like
Smell,
the smell is not that bad. And So in the future also, we want to make sure that we're finding alternatives to bleach and things
Wow.
like that. And
That would be really huge. Like,
Yeah.
I actually relate to that fact that my father didn't allow me to use those cleaning products, even wash my own dishes using the detergent because it was too hard for my baby's like skin. And we can really start thinking about what is good for nature or not, because one of the most important things of nature is the connection, the community. Everything in nature brings us together, and we have these cleaning products that are segregating the task and even segregating families into these, like, you can do this, you cannot do that, when it's all can just be like a communal and a fun initiative that is helps us connect more with each other, the rivers, the whole ingredients that is in the product as well. So I think that's another huge plus point of like
Yeah.
Nilo Nadee.
Yeah, it's safe for, like when you're like using a kitchen surface cleaner and then you have a baby that's sitting on the countertop, and obviously their food falls on the floor and stuff when they go to eat it. There is a little bit of toxicity that they ingest, right? Obviously, you want them to be exposed to bacteria and things like that, but not like synthetic chemicals, right? It's not good for them. So just for it's just trying to create products that are safer for homes, safer for children, safer for pets, things like that. Yeah.
You know, I always wonder, like, there's like those like harsh chemicals. They always say just use 1 drop or 2-3 drops is enough, but the amount that's accumulated with all these different households might be so concentrated, especially at the factory level too. So in your industry as well, like in Birgunj too, how are those like concentrations like handled or like avoided?
So these are all things that we definitely want to focus on when we create our own manufacturing plant. I think sometimes the limitations of having partners is that they will do it in their own way, but you also have to trust that they will handle their waste very responsibly. So there's also that to consider, that we want to be able to create something where it's all within our own ecosphere. But for now, we have to do best with what we can. And rather than sort of being perfectionist about it and thinking, oh, I can't start this now unless I have like 10 crores in my bank account. It's like, all right, I think I can contribute a little bit now and I can do it in the best way that I can. And let's keep committed to the...
That's true. Taking the step.
Yeah.
Finish.
Yeah. And I think like taking it forward and, like making sure that it's almost like running this kind of thing is almost like an ego death, because you're not the best environmentalist, you're not the best chemist, you're not the best this and that, and I'm like very receptive to like customers, like what they think about it, what they want, and all of that. So it's almost a little bit like an ego death, like learning how to do this, knowing that I don't have the answers to everything, but I am willing to learn, and I am willing to take on a lot of constructive criticism. I'm willing to do a lot of things.
Staying open.
Yeah.
That's so important.
Yeah.
And especially if we want to head to the greener world too, like, I think it's not about criticisms anymore. It's about partnering and educating one another too. So are there any like policies from the government that you need to abide by when you're selling the products? Like, how frequently are they updated, if you know anything about it?
So it's not as stringent as in other countries, and as long as our manufacturers have all their licenses and things like that, it's fine. Okay. It's not as far as I'm aware, it's not as... it's strict, but it's not implemented all the time, if you know what I'm saying. So yeah, there is that difficulty in the industry. Yeah.
That's so cool. All right, so we're heading towards the end. My final question would be, I think us as women, we should start appreciating our qualities more and embrace the process of how we process our emotions, stay more in touch with our qualities as well. So I would love to ask, what are some qualities about you that you truly appreciate and are grateful for, and that's helping Nilo Nadee become what you've always imagined it to be?
I think for me, what I appreciate about myself is that I'm growing, and I allow myself to grow, and I give myself chances to grow, whether it be like growing in confidence or growing in like bettering an attitude, or something like that, or like making sure that we are healthier, growing in that respect. What I like about myself is that I'm always like good at that, like giving myself grace for the things that maybe didn't happen, but also being hopeful for like what's to come, and like making myself motivated. So how that relates to the business is Nilo Nadee's growing. I wanted to grow. I wanted to grow in the best way possible. I wanted to have very strong foundations, very strong roots. I wanted to be rooted in Nepal. I wanted to have the very best Nepalese ingredients, and to sort of show to our Asian neighbors that we can also create something that's worthwhile, that makes a positive difference, and we don't have to import it. So that's what I think that is how my character there imbibes itself into Nilo Nadee.
That's beautiful. All right, I have a small gift for your growing journey too, from Ikosati.
Thank you
I
so
hope you love
much.
it.
Thank you.
Please feel free to open it.
Sure. Wow. Thank you, guys. Oh, is this the toothbrush?
Yes, the
Toothpaste.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It's really good.
Thank you very much, Ikosati. Oh, lovely.
All right.
So,
All right.
these are the three
Thank you so much. I love your branding.
Oh, thank you.
Fishes. Can I also
Yeah.
look into it? Okay, we have the dishwash.
Yeah.
Soap.
This one is for people with sensitive hands because it's paraben and sulfate free.
Sulfate-free. Okay, so cool. And hand lotion after using. Yeah.
Yeah. This is our
Wash.
newest launch.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool. And then what? Oh, surface cleaner.
Mm-hmm.
So what can you use it on?
This one you can use on stoves and kitchens and
Okay.
things like that. Not like wooden surfaces. We're coming out with that a bit later.
Okay.
But yeah, this is very good for the kitchens.
That's so cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Right. Definitely go home and try and tell my dad that I can wash dishes on my own.
Oh, that's so cute. That's really sweet though.
All right, thank you so much for watching. This was such a soothing and calm session for me, and we learned so much about river systems and how we can have cleaner and greener household, and also take care what goes like beyond our household too. So let's start thinking more, and let's start having fun, like you said, when we're taking care of our homes, and let's do it together with all our family members. And with that, I'd like to ask you to briefly share your Instagram handles, and alongside, what are some 3 eco habits that you've been following recently?
So we're Nilo Nadee on Instagram and TikTok, and I think Facebook as well. Luckily, nobody took that username, so we have that. And 3 eco habits. Well, firstly, I think is if you have the chance, don't buy something that you think is good. Like, for example, we talked about the AC unit and things like that. This whole summer I didn't sleep properly because my room is right on top of a terrace.
Okay.
And it gets really hot. But I think if you can, don't buy too many unnecessary like AC units and things like that. Secondly, for me, it would be like, be curious about what's in your products, whether it be skincare or whether it be even household cleaning products. We have these little. Did you know that Nepal has dolphins? We have dolphins in our river systems, right?
Yeah.
And during the pandemic, they came back.
Yeah.
So it's such a sweet story to think that, like, oh, maybe the rivers, like if we take care of it well enough, then these baby dolphins could come back.
Yeah.
Right now they're
So
blind
beautiful.
because the rivers are so
Dirty,
murky.
Yeah.
but I think sort of knowing and educating ourselves about the different aquatic life that exists in Nepal, that is rich, that is one. And then thirdly, my third eco habit, just try to just minimize plastic where you can,
Yeah.
like if you are going to a Himalayan Java, for example, or you want to have coffee somewhere, like you just take your own cup, just that one
That's
extra second, that one extra thing you put in your
Yeah,
bag.
that's true. And very important, these little steps too. And those were all really thoughtful eco habits. Thank you for sharing. And with that, we're going to end our podcast for today, but stay tuned for more. You can learn more about EcoSati at EcoSati in all different social media handles. And don't forget to follow Digo Pranali at Digo Pranali on Instagram. And you can follow my journey at Sricha with three H's in all the different social media handles as well. Thanks for watching again and stay tuned and think about those three ego habits because they were really, really thoughtful and important.